This is Genesis chapter 18, the message. God appeared to Abraham at the oaks of Mamre while he was sitting at the entrance of his tent. It was the hottest part of the day. He looked up and saw 3 men standing. He ran from his tent to greet him and bowed before them. He said, "Master, if it please you, stop for a while with your servant. I'll get some water so you can wash your feet. Rest under this tree. I'll get some food to refresh you on your way, since your travels have brought you across my path." They said, "Certainly, go ahead." Abraham hurried into the tent to Sarah. He said, "Hurry, get 3 cups of our best flour, knead it, and make bread." Then Abraham ran to the cattle pen and picked out a nice plump calf and gave it to the servant, who lost no time getting it ready. Then he got curds and milk, brought them with the calf that had been roasted, set the meal before the men, and stood there under the tree while they ate. The men said to him, "Where's Sarah, your wife?" He said, "In the tent." One of them said, "I'm coming back about this time next year. When I arrive, your wife Sarah will have a son." Sarah was listening at the tent opening, just behind the man. Abraham and Sarah were old by this time, very old. Sarah was far past the age of having babies. She laughed within herself. "An old woman like me get pregnant with this old man of a husband?" God said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh, saying, 'Me have a baby, an old woman like me? Is anything too hard for God?' I'll be back about this time next year, and Sarah will have a baby." Sarah lied. She said, "I didn't laugh," because she was afraid. But he said, "Yes, you did laugh." When the men got up to leave, they set off for Sodom. Abraham walked with them to say goodbye. Then God said, "Shall I keep back from Abraham what I'm about to do? Abraham is going to become a large and strong nation. All the nations of the world are going to find themselves blessed through him. Yes, I've settled on him as the one to train his children and future family to observe God's ways of life, live kindly and generously and fairly, so that God can complete in Abraham what he promised him." God continued, "The cries of the victims of Sodom and Gomorrah are deafening. The sin of those cities is immense. I'm going down to see for myself, see if what they're doing is as bad as it sounds, then I'll know." The men set out for Sodom, but Abraham stood in God's path, blocking his way. Abraham confronted him. "Are you serious? Are you planning on getting rid of the good people right along with the bad? What if there are 50 decent people in the city? Will you lump the good with the bad and get rid of Lot? And get rid of the Lot? Wouldn't you spare the city for the sake of those 50 innocents? I can't believe you do that. Kill off the good and the bad alike as if there were no difference between them. Doesn't the judge of all the earth judge with justice?" God said, "If I find 50 decent people in the city of Sodom, I'll spare the place just for them." Abraham came back. "Do I, a mere mortal made from a handful of dirt, dare open my mouth again to my master? What if the 50 fall short of 5? Will you destroy the city because of those missing 5? He said, "I won't destroy it if there are 45. Abraham spoke again. "What if you only find 40? neither will I destroy it if for 40. He said, Master, don't be irritated with me, but what if only 30 are found? No, I won't do it if I find 30. He pushed on. I know I'm trying your patience, Master, but how about for 20? I won't destroy it for 20. He wouldn't quit. Don't be angry, Master. This is the last time. What if you only come up with 10? For the sake of only 10, I won't destroy the city. When God finished talking with Abraham, he left, and Abraham went home. This is something that I just noticed reading this a second time. I just read the King James Version. Now this is the Message. And the 3 men obviously represent God. Now I'm thinking, I was like, how is this like physically here? I wonder now also, is the 3 men representing that Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost? What exactly is going on with that? Abraham was able to recognize that this was some form of God, some form of God-sent message. He knew immediately, even on this super hot day, and he's just, head down, and he looks up and he just knows. So there must have been something very divine, even about their appearance, or something that spoke to his soul, something. I just kind of would love to hear others' opinions on that, what they think the 3 men are, what it represents in their mind, or how they interpret it. I would just love to hear more about that. So God's walking with Abraham, literally walking and talking with him. He sees these 3 men. He gives them the best of what he's got. Please stick around. Let me bless you. Get some water to wash your feet, and you cool down under this tree. You rest. I'm going to make the best food that I have to offer with the most fat and tender calf, and fresh made bread, milk. He's doing it up for these 3 men, these messengers of God, or God in some form. And they stick around and they eat, and it seems like the blessing is just reconfirmed, that by the time I return, within the year, your wife will have the son that I've been promising. I mentioned this a lot already in the King James Version, but it really just is great that he's just reassuring them over and over. It might seem really repetitive, but our human nature craves that. Our human nature almost depends on that. This guarantee, that is just a true guarantee, not just someone spouting words, but like it will come to pass. And the fact that it is taking a couple of decades for this to come to pass for them, the reassurance is only that much more needed. Especially for these 2, just, being human and making mistakes in this time because of their fear and their lack of trust in God's plan, or just the haziness of God's plan, not really knowing how it's going to play out, and really just wanting to have that knowledge, acquire that knowledge. And sometimes it's just not for us to acquire it. We're just supposed to trust him. That's all he wants us to do, is just trust that he's going to do it. But it's hard sometimes when you think that there is something more for you to do, and sometimes it is just being still and knowing that God is capable and God's got this. Sometimes it really is just sitting back and not necessarily, doing your own thing, walking with God, abiding in God, communing with him, but letting him unfold whatever is meant to be unfolded, the blessing and the promises that he's guaranteed you, letting him unravel that, letting him reveal that, and his time. That can be hard, because as you can see, you can find yourself waiting a long time and going through things in the midst of that time that would challenge your faith, your patience, maybe even your relationship with God. So they do get the blessing again, the reminder, and it makes Sarah laugh. She's hiding in the tent. laughing and thinking, I'm too old, my husband's too old, this is crazy. Probably she's felt defeated, especially now that, Hagar has the firstborn, and he's at least 13, Ishmael, at this point. Like, so she's just living with this reminder of the sin that they committed. She still doesn't have a child. It's just all kinds of stuff that can just defeat a person's faith. And it was her own doing that did that. But even without that, just the waiting a long time on God to fulfill his promise. And it's taking decades, and they're old. Just the odds are against them. But it says in verse 14, is anything too hard for God? I pointed this out in the King James Version for this reason. It's just God can do anything. He spoke this place into existence and made us. The world is turning every day. And, we wake up every day. We expect it. We don't necessarily deserve it, and it's not guaranteed that we will wake up every day. But the fact that this is all just existing right now, it's just proof that God can do whatever he wants. I mean, he came up with this concept of people with hands and eyes and mouths and a sky with clouds and the sun and moon and animals and us being able to communicate to each other, love, children, food, and the concept of eating. All these things are things that he thought of, that he wanted to make a world about, or things in it. Who says that he can't say that old people can have kids? He said, let there be light, and there was light, Who says that he can't say, I want them to have kids, and they have it? And I think this is a really good story for people who have struggled to have children. I've definitely been in that boat for a long time where I wanted to have a child and I didn't, for so many reasons. Part of it was for infertility reasons. I'm not going to get into too much of a detail with that, but I was not infertile, but I was with someone who was, and I wasn't going to leave them for that because I believe that God, if he wanted it, he would give it to us. But long story short, I do understand that journey, it can really take a lot out of you and really make you question life and just everything, even God, it can. But I've also learned in that journey that, and I've heard other people's journeys as well, I've just learned in that journey that, if it's in God's will, it will be. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter how impossible it seems or how long you wait. You just got to believe in him and stay walking with him, communing with him as best as you can with your whole heart. God won't let you down. So, she's doubting and she's laughing, probably because she's tired, She's been waiting a long time and been through a lot. Some of it was self-inflicted, but either way, she's been through a lot. So, God calls her out, why is she laughing? And she ended up lying, I didn't laugh because she was afraid, because he saw her. She was hiding in a tent, laughing to herself, at what was being said out there, even though she's listening. But God sees everything, I said this also in the King James Version. You're behind closed doors, the stuff that you think you're doing that nobody knows about. God sees everything, and he's recording it too in your own personal book. There's a book of Job and a book of this. Well, there's a book of Sam and Sue. There's a book of Bob, There's a book for each and every one of us where our actions, good and bad, are recorded, where our heart was when certain things were happening. He has it all written down. He sees everything. So, the fact that she thought that this was some secret moment of hers, it wasn't. And the funny thing, too, is she's spying, listening to this. And in reality, God doesn't even have to spy. He just sees her already in there where she thinks she's hidden. And he can see her reaction, and he can read her mind and her heart. While she's thinking she's, hidden and being sneaky. Not to God. He sees everything. He already knew that she was going to do this before she even was born. So, just keep those things in mind, how all-knowing he is. He's everywhere. And nothing we can do about it either. We just gotta, accept it. It's not like, of all the people and beings in existence that could have that ability, I would rather it be God, because at least he's going to do right by it. You know, he's not knowing all things to turn it into something perverted. He's just and pure and righteous and holy, and he's doing it as a father, a true, pure father, watching over his kids, seeing how they're behaving, trying to help us correct ourselves if we let him. Anyway, he wasn't even mad at her either. He just said, yes, you did laugh, you know. Verse 15. Yes, you did. Even though she denied it and got kind of scared there because, oh my gosh, he saw me, you know. Yes, he saw you. He wasn't mad though. So he's headed towards Sodom apparently, these three men. They got to check out the place. Already God already knows what's going on. I know it says here, like, in verse maybe 19. No. Sorry. Verse 20. God continued, the cries of the victims in Sodom and Gomorrah are deafening. The sin of the cities is immense. I'm going down to see for myself, see if what they're doing is as bad as it sounds. I mean, he already knows. But there's something about him having this physical. And it's kind of explained, I think, in the next chapter, why physically they must be there. It's almost like to just display how wicked they are. But God already knows. Like, he already knows this place is terrible. He already knows he's going to have to take it down. And Abraham, probably thinking of his nephew Lot, who's hanging around there, he's asking God, like, please, like, if there's good people there, just don't take them out. Just, you know, because there's a bunch of wicked people. What if there's good people, 50 good people? And God's like, if there are 50 good people, I won't. I'll spare this place for them. And it just becomes less and less, which says so much about it. Like, deep down, probably Abraham also knows that there's no goodness. There's none. You know, like the fact that he had to keep decreasing it, 45, 30, and all the way down to 10. It's like they both know, like, this isn't a good place. These places are terrible. And again, it's like a Days of Noah thing going on all over again. But, you know, contained, I guess, in these places for now. And I guess part of the reason to destroy is not just because it's wicked, but it certainly doesn't need to continue and spread. So God did promise, even if there were 10, he wouldn't destroy it for their sake. He'd let the wickedness continue for those righteous people. But, I mean, we all know the story of Sodom and Gomorrah and what happens to it. So there weren't even 10 righteous people. Think about that. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That's about it for chapter 18, the message. I hope you enjoyed this reading. And please do comment about what stood out to you about this chapter. There's a lot of things going on. God and Abram are on some good terms, and Abram's super obedient and accommodating and walking and communing with God. Even just talking to him in this way about sparing people, sparing good people. Just a regular conversation that, you know, God already knows what's going on with that place. But he doesn't just cut off Abram and be like, I know what I'm doing, you know, like he says, okay, if there are that, I won't do it. He's just so kind and gentle. My goodness. You know, he doesn't even like answer him in a harsh way. He just, even though he knows he's going to destroy this place, he's just still like, if that's true what you say, if it is this many, I won't do it. You know? So, anyway, that's about all I got out of this. I just pray that you guys have a really blessed day. I appreciate you for watching, for reading with me. And I look forward to chapter 19 to see, you know, what's going to happen next in this place, Sodom and Gomorrah. Most of you already know, but let's read it anyway. And let's kind of analyze it a bit, you know, just for the sake of getting closer to God and learning about just things that we can apply to our own lives and just the story of this world. Whatever you can get out of it, really, there's always something. And you could read this stuff a million times and things would just stand out to you differently based on your spiritual growth and your growth in your relationship with the Creator, God. So I pray many blessings over you, and I thank you for watching, for reading, and I pray that you have a really blessed, beautiful day, you and your family and loved ones. And I love you. Bye.